Hello to all of the 4 people watching right now. I'm going to turn the volume on the music down, but we're going to keep it on for a little because it is a nice vibe in the background. Welcome, Mock Draft Monday.
No longer mock draft. This is too jazzed up. Maybe I've had too many of these, too many iced coffees today, but this is Mania Monday. We're feeling kind of manic here. Nick, What's up, man? Follow him at Notorious FNTSY. I'm Matt Savoca at Draftaholic, and we are going to be doing a live Best Ball Mania 3 draft with you guys. Excited to get into this one on this hot Monday afternoon where I am. How are you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It is also very hot where I am at. Yesterday, it rained all near me. There's trees falling down, but by my house right now, it's a million degrees out. I'm wearing a sweatshirt because my other shirt is the same color as the green screen, so it would have just been a floating head, which would have been kind of funny, I think, but then got annoying a couple minutes in, so I'm just wearing a gray sweatshirt now.
We had an appearance by Green Man. Shout out to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on this Monday afternoon. Make sure to like and subscribe this video while you're here. Get notified when this channel is going live by hitting that notification bell. Oh, man, we are inching closer and closer to the start of the fantasy football season. These drafts really hone in our rankings. We've got the expert consensus rankings going live later this week on Awesemo.com. That's in conjunction with the Awesemo projections that we have consistently updating over on the Awesemo Best Ball page. We are currently waiting for our draft to fill, and of course, we'll get into it. We're also going to create a new version of this video here where we're going to give you the highlights of the draft later in the week. So if you want to just catch not the whole process of our draft, but just the picks and some of the highlights, that'll help you out there. I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, we need to get a nice collage at the end of or not a collage, a montage at the end of the season of all of us getting angry when someone takes our picks, because that's happened already multiple times. I've already gotten very angry. So
yeah,
imagine how much anger there will be after we do this for the next 3 months.
Now, what's your definition of a snipe in drafts? Because if a player is at ADP and you're going to get them, you're not going to get them. You knew that there was a low probability to begin with, and the person just does what ADP tells them to do. That's not a snipe. That's not a snipe, in my opinion. Am I crazy there? Or is every time you're about to pick someone and you have to mentally go through the hoops of picking someone quickly, you've been sniped?
I think it's more of like, especially when you're doing what we're doing, it's when you start talking about someone, you're like, oh, I really like X player here, and you add them to your queue, and then you're like 2 picks away, and then someone takes them. To me, that's a snipe, but in reality, when you're in like a regular fantasy football draft, a snipe is when someone just reaches egregiously, maybe 5-6 picks ahead of ADP, and then just snipes the guy that you really wanted. Or just clearly take someone that they didn't need. Like maybe they already have 6 running backs, they just draft a 7th, and that 7th is the guy you want. That's a snipe to me.
Or like the 5 quarterback guy. You've seen some of these in these Best Ball Mania tournaments too, where like, I don't know what they're thinking, or I don't know what's going on, but there's like 6-7 quarterbacks on one team. And, it's kind of tough, actually, because, you get in these situations where you still need a quarterback, right? You can't just be stuck with Drew Lock as your quarterback 1 because one person screwed their whole team over by drafting all quarterbacks, right? You still need to figure out that draft room. And that's one of the things in these tournaments and in these specific draft rooms where every draft room is different. And ADP... especially in the mid rounds, can kind of get thrown out the window as you start to see what other people are doing, and you realize, okay, I guess the value is here on this draft. I have to react.
Yeah, I think in normal fantasy football drafts, there is a lot more sticking to the ADP when compared to a best ball draft. I think in a best ball format, people are much less likely to just ride the ADP. They're going to reach up potentially a round to complete their stack. So ADP in underdog drafts, any kind of best ball draft, is a lot more not as accurate in my book because people are just going to do crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, one thing they don't publish is the standard deviation of the draft position to get all nerdy with it, right? Yeah. They have the average draft position, but they don't really tell us what the variability is within that draft pick. Take a really easy example. Christian McCaffrey. His ADP is probably the 2nd overall player. But there are many people drafting who don't want him at number 2, don't want him at number 3, may not want him at number 4 or even 5. 106 is where I've seen Christian McCaffrey by very rational fantasy analysts. That's a lot of standard deviations compared to a player like Jonathan Taylor, who is going first and pretty much only first, maybe second.
Yeah, Eckler, I've noticed, has a very strong, fluctuation. I'm drafting him sometimes at 3, and I'm seeing him go all the way to 10 or 11 in other drafts. So it's very interesting. Based upon where I'm picking, basically means where Eckler's going to go, probably, if he's still there.
Absolutely. As we wait here, let's dig into some of the latest news here in the NFL. Definitely is a slow time after rookie mini camps finish up. We have the annual rookie offensive photo that makes its way around. Who is it? Someone got caught blinking this year. I think it was Kenny Pickett got caught blinking. Unfortunately, eyes closed. That's always me in photos, by the way. I always nail the smile, eyes completely shut. I don't know about you.
Yeah, especially because they're making them look up to take the picture, so you're staring at the sun. And then I have blue eyes. My eyes are too. I don't know. They don't do well with the sun. But some news that I just got is that Albert Breer, if you know who that is on Twitter, tweeted about how Jimmy Garoppolo will be traded before week 1 of the season. I don't know if I believe that, to be completely honest with you. Just an interesting talking point here.
He's got a pretty big following, Albert Breer. It's very possible that he's plugged into this. Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulder was hurt all offseason long. He had surgery on that shoulder, and so teams couldn't see him throw. I think that really led to teams not being able to trade for him until this point in the offseason. So I think between now and the first game of the season, we do see Jimmy Garoppolo get traded. It's really tough, though, because if the season starts and Garoppolo is on that roster is probably too good to bench him. He's probably going to play 12 games. I just don't think that's the most likely outcome. How about you?
Yeah, I think that they're going to end up getting rid of him. They just have to. If they really believe in Lance, you can't just have Jimmy Garoppolo looming behind him, because that is just not good for him, I think, in terms of his development. While it may be helpful to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think it's very helpful for Jimmy to be right behind you, where at any second, if they're just losing, might as well just throw Jimmy into the game. And right now, where we are sitting, if you guys are on Underdog, you can just join the draft, because I think we still have 4 more people to go before the draft. Oh, I lied. 6 people remaining until the draft starts, but it did fill relatively quickly. We were in, there was no one there, and now there's some people with us. So.
Okay, we're getting in. We're getting there. And it's good. We get to break through the fantasy beat once a week. That's the kind of pace things are going. It's kind of nice during the fantasy offseason. Jadeveon Clowney allegedly passing up multiple contract offers of multi-years and more annual because of how much he wants to be a Cleveland Brown. I think that might be an agent in Schefter's ear. I might be crazy, but Jadeveon Clowney nonetheless signs for double-digit millions. Can still be an impact on that defensive line. Cleveland certainly thinks they can be a contender. They still don't even know how many games Jacoby Brissett is starting for them. It's probably not 0, unfortunately, with the legal situations going on with Deshaun Watson. Still, that AFC North is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Watson and everyone was in, what was that, Cancun? They were all on the beach together. I don't know if you saw that picture. So
Bahamas, yeah, something
like that. Yeah, Cancun, that's where all the NBA players go after they get eliminated. But yeah, it's very nice to see the whole team together and all. I am very interested to see the wide receiver core in Cleveland outside of Amari Cooper, who really ends up boosting their value immensely based upon where Donovan Peoples-Jones and David Bell are getting drafted. They're almost not free, but you get what I'm saying. They're super late round picks, and I think one of them could really skyrocket value depending on how long Watson plays or not. Because if it's 9 games of Jacoby Brissett, then maybe that was a swing and a miss of a pick if you're drafting them later.
That's true. Yeah, if Watson plays, I don't think you can really rank him lower on a per game basis than, say, quarterback 7, quarterback 6. It's really tough to get outside when he does play. Obviously, the number of games played in a best ball draft really matters. If you're considering the offense with Deshaun Watson, 2 of my favorite players, maybe we'll see it play out today, in the late rounds, David Njoku and even Harrison Bryant. The Cleveland Browns have traditionally used the tight end a lot near the goal line, and multiple tight end sets are things that they consistently use. Those players are essentially free at the end of drafts, and Deshaun Watson has a history of having a pretty high touchdown pass rate to tight ends here, so That seems like a good match. Although whatever Rotoworld is now, NBC Sports Edge was reporting that the Browns could spread out the offense with Watson as quarterback. You think? Of course they are. It's the most ridiculous thing. Yes, they will pass more.
Yeah, who would have guessed that? But in other shocking news from the Browns, Jarvis Landry is now on the Saints. How are you feeling about that? Because me and Gajewski talked about this. It's going up on the Fantasy Football channel tomorrow. Right now, it seems like Jarvis Landry is one of the best value picks in all of fantasy drafts based upon where he's going in like the 130 range right now on Underdog. I'm very excited about Jarvis Landry. I'm not saying that he's going to put up crazy numbers because Michael Thomas is still there. They did draft Chris Olave, but I think Olave almost just got screwed, at least for this year in terms of fantasy value. Because where he's going, I'm very unexcited about Chris Olave. I'm still going to draft him because, when you're drafting 150 times, you're going to end up drafting him. But I'm not as excited anymore. Nowhere near it.
Here is what I want to do over the course of best ball season. Simply spread out my exposure so I probably get about a third of each. I want Jameis Winston and one of these wide receivers. I have no idea. If any of them are going to be league winners, but I think I know that one of three of them are definitely going to fail.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's Olave.
That's the pessimistic part of me. But Michael Thomas was not supposed to hit in the way that he did as a second-round pick out of Ohio State, where a lot of people were saying that others had produced at Ohio State more than him, and then all he did his rookie year was score touchdowns. No one can guard him, according to his Twitter profile. But I think that it's unreasonable to get out of best ball season if you're doing multiple drafts without some shares of Olave. You got to get some Jarvis Landry. There is some skill and slot overlap with Michael Thomas, but we are past the point where a team can't have two productive slot wide receivers, especially when Cole Kmet is the guy, competing for targets at the tight end position. Please, Cole Kmet is the one who's getting target squeezed when you have Kamara and Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave. He's the one who's not getting picked, who's getting targets. If you want to get him at the end of drafts, he's not at the end of drafts. I think he's a ridiculous pick. He's my least favorite. I got mad at him in our Dynasty draft the other day, too.
Yeah, am I crazy? It's definitely not Cole Kmet. You're talking about Adam Troutman, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm talking about underperforming rookie prospect profile tight ends. I'm talking about Adam Troutman. I went on a whole diatribe about a Bears wide receiver when I meant Adam Troutman the whole time. The beauty of live shows, everyone. Thank you.
Shout out to Taysom Hill, now tight end on Underdog.
Exactly. They got to find a way to use that guy too.
Exactly. So we got 2 more spots left in the draft. If you guys wanted to join up and draft with us, it will be quite the exquisite experience.
You want to tweet out the draft link?
I don't even know if you can do that. There's 2 spots left. I think I would have no idea how to do that, if it's even possible. But what I do know is possible is us winning the $2 million first place today.
That is quite possible, maybe even probable. There is a probability, one could say. And I'm excited, too, because we are brought to you today by Underdog, where you see the screen right now as we get ready to draft. You can use promo code Awesemo to get up to a $100 first match deposit bonus. It's a huge deal when you're talking about a $25 tournament where there are 2 opportunities to win $1 million plus at the end of the regular season, the fantasy regular season. They're going to crown the regular season points champion with $1 million. That's it. No matter what happens in the playoffs, you get $1 million. Then, second place is getting $1 million as well, which is not as much as $2 million, which is how much they're giving to first place. It's just an unbelievable tournament. You got to get in there. That's what we're playing today. It's going to be real fun.
All right, the draft has started.
So. All right, here we go. Let's bring it up on the screen.
Perfect timing. We are at pick, well, it's not 1 through 10, so it's going to be 11. What is your thoughts on drafting later in drafts? Because that is my sweet spot. I like drafting in that range.
Let's do it. This is exciting. I mean, I don't really feel like I know what the draft room is going to be like. And so I honestly wait until about pick 5 or 6. and I see if there's been any irrationality, because I know that there might be that again on the turn. But mostly, I'm trying to double up on a position, so maybe I can have the best 1-2 punch at a position compared to the rest of my league mates. Now, no rules that I'm sticking to every single time, I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree. There's no rules that I stick to either. Now, if you were inside the top 3, would you feel comfortable drafting Cooper Kupp? Because if I'm being honest with you, when I'm in that 1 through 5 range, most of the time I'm just going to draft a running back.
Yeah, and there's a clear drop-off, too, after those first few running backs, after, say, Najee Harris, even Dalvin Cook and Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, they all have kind of warts on the profile, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that after Cook, it starts to fall off for me, because there's no way I feel comfortable drafting Mixon in the same range as these guys ahead of him. So the first 2 picks of the draft are running backs. It is Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler.
There he is, 102. Look what we've
Najee
done.
Harris. Yeah, I mean, we really do move the needle over here.
There's
the
Kupp.
104, Cooper Kupp. So we can't even look yet to what we want to do here. But realistically, with who you think is going to go, who would you want to go at 110 or 111, I should say?
See, I really like Stephon Diggs. He's got a great last matchup. And maybe Travis Kelce or something like that.
Gotcha. I like that as well. Christian McCaffrey goes at the 105. Christian McCaffrey is going to be one of the most polarizing players this offseason. I can already tell in August there's going to be great debates on, is Christian McCaffrey worth the pick? Is he going to get hurt? Blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, if the guy plays 15 games, 14 games, he might be the best running back in fantasy football. If he plays 3 games again, then you're probably screwed. But that's just
on a per game basis, man.
Shot you got to go with. I mean, he might score 90 points in 3 games.
It's really true. And I mean, no one has more valuable opportunity when fully healthy. I mean, we saw it in week 1, I think, against the Jets last year. He had 29 total opportunities. No one else had 25, if I remember correctly.
He's insane. He's literally like a cheat code, except for the fact that the cheat code sometimes doesn't work because he's in the hospital.
Panthers were low-key rolling until he got hurt against the Texans in week 3, I believe, or week 4.
Yeah, Sam Darnold had more rushing touchdowns than every running back in the NFL, if you seem to remember back then.
Yeah, who needs Christian McCaffrey when you've got Sam Darnold back there? Exactly. The greatest rusher of all time.
All right, so we're about to be up. We're not going to be able to get Travis Kelce. We might be able to get Stephon Diggs. And we don't. I just jinxed it. We got sniped. You hate to see it. So now we're up here, 24 seconds. What are you looking at here?
So I actually like Devontae Adams. I think his target floor is incredibly high. I think it's a little early for Dalvin Cook or Joe Mixon. Adams is pretty clearly the pick for me. Even though he's changed teams this year, I think he's going to be just fine with Derek Carr.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the Las Vegas stack, while is not one of my favorite stacks to get, it is very possible for you to go into the draft, drafting Devontae Adams, and then end up with Hunter Renfrow and then Derek Carr. So now we're up again. Cook, Mixon went in between us. Are you looking to go wide receiver again?
This is tough here because I think at the positional value, it's actually tight end, but it's too early, in my opinion, for Mark Andrews. If you wanted him, fine. The next wide receiver on my list is CeeDee Lamb. I actually like a running back here, but I'll leave this one to you.
All right. We're going to go with Lamb. I want to go with the double receiver strategy because it seems like every single one of these that we have done, whether it's me and you or me and Gajeski, we did running backs pretty early often. And I think a lot of people typically go with the exact opposite of that and go wide receiver early. So Adams and Lamb to start off the draft. Would you be looking to, now that we have Lamb, try to get Dak, or are you not set upon that since these are our first 2 picks?
I'm willing to be aggressive with these stacks. Absolutely.
Gotcha. All right.
You
so
want to
Dak,
get you want to get in on these.
Yeah, Dak's by 9 and Carr is by 6. So that's actually perfect.
There we go.
Guys,
Andrews goes right after. Not surprised there.
Storm. Yeah, Andrews is a guy that is going super early, but I think that he's almost worth the pick. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's the best tight end this season. And the biggest issue with Andrews is trying to stack him with Lamar, because even if someone doesn't have any of the other pieces, it seems like people are very interested in drafting like a naked Lamar, which means just drafting Lamar and then saying fuck it to the rest of the Ravens. I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And these rushing quarterbacks are less reliant on one wide receiver. Typically, they hit their ceilings when they rush for their most points, which doesn't benefit their receivers. DeAndre Swift after Aaron Jones, who he's going to have a huge year. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see his ADP continuing to rise. Mike Evans at the 2.6. My goodness, everyone. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I like Evans a lot. I'd be drafting Evans ahead of Debo as well. No,
a lot of question marks. Yeah.
All right, AJ Brown at the 208. I do not love drafting AJ Brown ahead of Tyreek Hill. That's just me, though.
I actually like the way this draft has shaped up for us, especially because we could have some running back value available to us. If not, no big deal. It's the start of the running back dead zone, which I'm clearly terrified of. But we still have some bell cows in this spot who are fairly young. Alvin Kamara, Josh Allen continues to creep up the draft board.
This is the struggle of trying to do the Josh Allen dig stack because right here, the guy drafts Josh Allen, he has Najee Harris. It's tough.
Absolutely. And it's the same way with the Chiefs almost every year. It's easier a little bit with Travis Kelce being the only premium skill position pick.
Yeah. I mean, last year, to get all of the guys, it was basically impossible, especially if you wanted to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well.
Gosh, yeah, it was like way too much. And, the one way you can figure this out, if you ever play in an auction league, you'll see that some teams, if you try to make their stack and you go with expected auction value, it's literally more than your budget. Usually means that's a little bit overvalued in terms of expected production. However, in these types of drafts, once we get those premium skill players on those teams, we're still looking to be aggressive with those stacks. There goes Kyle Pitts. Darn it. Javonte Williams at the 3-2, I think, is a smash play.
Shout out to Pecan, who was in the chat, who took Josh Allen. He said he's going for the Davis Knox stack. That makes sense, but my point was more not that I thought you made like a bad pick or something, more that there are people that are going to creep up when you take Stephon Diggs and just snipe Josh Allen from you, which is what you did. So I respect it.
Michael Pittman at the 3-5. Yep. Fits the profile of these breakout wide receivers we see in their third or fourth year. Keenan Allen, much more secure role with, I believe, one of the budding stars in the NFL, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, how are you feeling on James Conner here? Because he is going right now at RB15 in the third round. I feel like he is going way too low. I think he should be a second-round pick.
I'll let you pick him, but that is not my kind of pick. I know he does have a more secure workload this year, theoretically, than last year. Just 2 late-round picks and Eno Benjamin and Keontae Ingram behind him. No Chase Edmonds. I think the Arizona Cardinals could see a huge slide backwards. He was already efficient in a fantasy way because of his touchdown scoring. Just seems like one of those situations where after a Pro Bowl year and a resurgent year, he just kind of disappoints. But if you want him, we can take him. We're probably going to be able to get him.
No, someone already took him. I hate to see that. But at the end of the day, I wasn't like set on him. He was more of like a talking point. But we do have pick 35 and 38. Do you feel comfortable with taking Darren Waller with the next pick, or do you think we should just take him now?
I think we could take him. Hold on. Let's see here. From a positional value standpoint,
I don't feel as though this person is going to take him, but you never know.
Yeah, I think we try to push it. I think we can get another wide receiver in Deontay Johnson. We can go David Montgomery, or we can take Waller. I think we can wait. We can wait for Waller. We can wait. I would take Deontay.
All right, yeah, let's go with Deontay Johnson. I'm pretty close between Johnson and Waddle. I probably would have leaned Waddle, but I think that Deontay Johnson is the clear number one on his team, whereas though I know for sure Waddle is not even the number one, right? Tyreek Hill has to be the number one guy there in Miami. But I don't think that stops Waddle from being top 12.
I agree. Waddle could also have those games again where he has just 12 targets. Marquise Brown, 312. He was in the 6th round, guys, a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that the effect of now there's no D-Hop. Now he's not on Baltimore, which is a notoriously run-heavy team. And some people probably just don't like Lamar Jackson as a passer. So we are up, and we are able to get Darren Waller. So there's really no discussion to even have here, I don't think, right? You're just good with Waller?
Yep. If we're trying to build the stack, let me see here. Just Montgomery, Mahomes are my top value-wise.
Mhm.
I'm absolutely fine taking Waller just so we guarantee it, though.
Yeah, there's no way we would have gotten Waller, I think,
Yeah.
if we waited. So
Nope.
I
He's
like Waller a
yeah,
lot.
he's I think the 4th next available in line in ADP. And we got a long way to go. All right, we really need Derek Carr. We're gonna have to push
The
make sure we
agenda
push the ADP. We really want to get that stack. It can be a little uncomfortable sometimes, but hey, let's look at
think
the week.
normally I would like to stack Dak with Schultz, but I think since we drafted Waller, I feel like it's hard to pull the trigger in the top 10 rounds on a guy like Schultz. What do you think?
I don't need Dalton Schultz, but I do think that there is going to be a strong number 2 receiver that emerges in that offense. There just has to be.
Yeah.
And Michael Gallup is still not guaranteed that he's going to play right away to start the season.
I like Gallup, though, the most out of that group. Do you think you'd rather draft Tolbert?
I'm high on Gallup as well, especially if we're trying to build out the stack. We should also start thinking about game stacks. Week 17, Dallas plays the Titans. We've also got Raiders versus 49ers, not my favorite. Let's look at week 16.
I've been able to really get a lot of the Bills-Bears stack. I think that's week 16.
That's week 16.
I've done a lot of that.
Dallas plays Philadelphia, and the Raiders play the Steelers. So that's good. We got a little game stack with Deontay Johnson going on. But we should be highlighting some Eagles as well.
Real quick, Pecan in the chat asked us, who are your highest exposures right now? Mine would be the Dolphin stack I have a lot of, and I have a lot of the Bills stack. And with the Bills stack, it's just the main guys. So Josh Allen, Diggs, Knox, and Gabe Davis. And then I have a lot of Isaiah McKenzie as well. And then with the Dolphin stack, normally it's just Tua, Waddle, and Tyreek. I do like Cedric Wilson a decent amount, but it seems like people are really high on him now. Same with Sony Michel. Sony Michel has been getting hammered in a lot of these drafts I've been doing.
I like that. I absolutely think that makes no sense to me. So that's not someone that I'm going to be drafting. That's not my type of running back, my friend. But I do have some previous producers that have kind of been forgotten about at the end of drafts that I've got a lot of exposure to. Players like Sterling Shepard, Jacoby Myers, not super sexy picks by any stretch. Curtis Samuel, another player who had an injury-riddled season. I'm a little bit higher on players like Kenneth Walker, even though the situation in Seattle isn't great. David Montgomery, even though the situation isn't great. I have some Isaiah Spiller because I'm so high on Austin Eckler as well. If there is an off chance that Eckler does get injured, I want to hedge that a little bit and get to him, and he's easier to draft. I also have a ton of Chargers in general because I think Justin Herbert could take that next step in a great division. We continue on here. We are already up to the, where are we? The fifth pick of the fifth round, excuse me. Breece Hall goes. He's one I've been having trouble getting since the draft, and it's not like he went to a fantastic place. People feel like he's going to push Michael Carter out day one, huh?
Yeah, I think that he is going to push him out right away, but I think that Michael Carter is going to prohibit Breece Hall from having some type of crazy receiving numbers because Carter is a very solid receiving back. And while for fantasy, it kind of sucks for Michael Carter, this is a pretty good backfield to be in, right? It's a solid 1-2 punch with Hall and Carter, realistically thinking in an NFL sense.
Yeah. And I do think that this spot right here, we have some running backs that have a little bit of warts on their profile. I think Travis Etienne and Antonio Gibson could be superstars. Allen Robinson would have been the pick for me. I was about to get there. But I think that both of these players could just have talent overcome the uncertainty of their opportunity. For me, we need volume at the running back position, so I think Etienne would be a pick for me. It's not time to pick Dak Prescott or Derek Carr yet. If you wanted to continue on the wide receiver train, I don't hate it, but Etienne is the pick for me.
Yeah, that is going to be my pick as well. I'm a little bit off of Antonio Gibson this year. I mean, I see the talent, but I just don't know if Riverboat Ron is fully ever going to commit to Gibson.
It's a fair concern. They drafted Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
I still just think he's a really talented back. That is not a reason you have to pick him in best ball.
I agree. He is definitely very talented. So we did go with Travis Etienne. If it was me thinking if I was going to go wide receiver, I would have went Michael Thomas, but Michael Thomas has to be the most risky 5th round pick with the highest amount of upside, in my opinion. So we are about to be up yet again. Who are we looking at with this second pick here? Do you want to go running back again? So we don't have to worry about running back as frequently here?
I think we get a huge drop off in what expected touches we get. I think Josh Jacobs, in terms of expected touches per game, is probably the leader there. Antonio Gibson, in terms of talent for me, but Jacobs playing for that contract absolutely could have a smash year. Hope he gets used in the passing game. I'm McDaniels, please.
Yeah, I mean, last year he actually was used in the passing game, which was shocking because, like, for years Gruden's like, oh, we're to give him rushing opportunity. Then the second Gruden's gone, then we see Josh Jacobs really get some receiving upside, and that fits in with our stack. I know most people aren't necessarily super in on, oh, I need to get the running back with my quarterback, my receiver, my tight end, but hey, if they fall to you, I'm fine doing that. I have a lot of Singletary as well. In the chat, Nerd Rage asked, how often are you grabbing Will Fuller? If Will Fuller falls to me all the way with the last pick, I'm willing to take the shot because I think he could be a Green Bay Packer.
Wow. I did not think of that. That works for me.
Yeah, now, again,
works for me.
His thumb might need to be amputated because he was out all season with it, so who knows how healthy he really is. But in terms of, like, dart throw late round picks, for a guy that's not on a team, I think the upside there is huge.
Oh, Joe Burrow at the 6-6. I just can't get behind the Cincinnati Bengals at ADP, and yet I'm the one who's going to be crying into my $0 earned because that game, what are they playing, the Chiefs week 16 or week 17? Like, that's going to decide things. What are we kidding?
Yeah, I mean, I have some Burrow, but it's really hard to get Burrow, Higgins, and Chase. So
absolutely.
In the chat, Pecan said that he is 70% Nico Collins. That was me last year. I was really in on Nico Collins as a late round flyer. He didn't pay off, but I think this year it really just depends on the health of the wide receiver that they drafted, whose name is escaping me, but I know exactly who it is. You know what I'm talking
about?
John
Mechie.
Mechie, yeah. It really depends on Mechie's health because I think that Nico Collins could slot in as the number 2 guy there. Brandon Cooks is the clear one, though, in my book. He's like destined for 1,000 yards.
I don't hate that call, Nico Collins. I have a couple players in that book, young, still haven't broken out the way their draft capital might imply that they could. I still believe in Paris Campbell, still believe in Terrace Marshall enough to continue drafting them.
Yeah.
So same thing. I have some D. Eskridge as well in Seattle. Not a high draft capital players, but these are ways that I'm looking to maybe catch on to that next wave of player who's a target monster and is getting picked in the 5th and 6th round of drafts next year.
Yeah, Burks is a player that I've been drafting a lot. Burks would have fit in well with one of our stacks. You said they play up against the Titans in week 16 or 17, so that would have been pretty clutch. But based on how we've been drafting, there's virtually no way we got him.
We also have Philadelphia's Devonta Smith available soon. That works for me.
Yeah, I feel as though at pick 83 we have to take Dak.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Assuming he falls, because I mean I hope so. I'm surprised Brady's still on the board.
Yeah, I wonder if the person trying to build a Tampa stack already abandoned it. Well, there you go.
This would be it. I mean, it's half the stack. You got Godwin.
All right, well, pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on drafting Godwin where he's going, knowing that maybe he won't be full go early?
I love Chris Godwin, and maybe my bias of what I think of him first as a talent coming into the league and then how he's produced in the league. He's a great player. But I just, on a per-game basis, if I'm getting Tom Brady's wide receiver 1A or 1B, I think I want to draft that at or better than ADP. I think I got to have a little of it.
Yeah, I think in the chat, Nerd Rage said that he thought that's where Will Fuller would go, Green Bay. Imagine if Will Fuller followed Watson. You know how pissed off I would be with all my David Bell and Donovan Peoples-Jones when Will Fuller shows up there?
They
It's got
kind
to
of
be
need a
cheap, right?
burner. Anthony Schwartz, maybe. Anthony Schwartz ran a fast 40 once, but he's no Will Fuller. Well, when healthy.
Yeah, you got to use the Schwartz. He does have a cool nickname, though. That's a fire movie. Comb the Desert.
Spaceballs.
All right, so we're
So
one pick
Trevor
away. Bond B, you mother effer, you better not take Dak Prescott. I'll tell you what.
You just did it.
I know, he's going to take him now. That's why it's funny, because the reaction will be better. Oh, I took Brandon.
Oh,
Ayuk,
he
so
took it. All right, take our boy.
we get
Take us home
Mr.
with Prescott.
Dakota Prescott. Now, if Dak is able to stay consistent, which was not his thing last year, Dak could literally be a top 5 quarterback.
1 second. How many quarterbacks are on the board until Derek Carr? Just gauging.
Stafford, Rodgers, Lance.
This would be an aggressive time to draft Derek Carr. But this is the last time that we have a guaranteed chance.
Okay,
Oh,
back.
we lost you. We lost you for a minute. Draft is back. Kenneth Walker. Would have loved to draft him if he was there. You're on your own. I say it's okay to draft him.
Derek Carr?
I don't think it's the best value, but we got to get this stack, right?
Yeah, we're going to take Carr. Sorry about that. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with my internet, but it should be good now. Happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
No, it doesn't actually happen all the time.
I'm joking with you. All right, so here's what I want to be done with the quarterback position. People are going to laugh at us and say, like, why is Derek Carr going to... Look, there's the argument that someone is going to get the stack that you went for at or better than ADP. So if you don't get it at value, you're already playing a step behind. But in my opinion, that's a fallacy, because if you don't have it, you don't have the stack at all. You're not competing whatsoever. So we have completed multiple game stacks that I'm really excited about. I still want to try to get Titans. I still want to try to get Eagles.
Gotcha. See, Bond B, he agrees with what you said, because he just took Justin Fields at pick 87. Justin Fields does not normally go pick 87, but he did have the Bears, so he got the stack.
That's aggressive. Matthew Stafford just scored a touchdown. The Rams scored a touchdown on 34% of their drives last year, like top 5 in the league, just sitting there. MVP of the league, Aaron Rodgers. I have a whole lot of Aaron Rodgers, by the way. But
yeah, I like Rodgers a lot. In the chat, Ben said, when D-Hop comes back, oh Lord, Hollywood Brown will step up with his best friend in the meantime. And then my friend Ben, he's going to multiple games this year. Week 2 in Vegas, week 6 in Seattle. Bird Gang, baby. That's awesome. I think D-Hop is one of the more interesting picks in drafts. I'm not taking him right now in best ball in the 7th round, but I think if his ADP fell maybe to the 8th or 9th round, I'd almost want to take him, knowing that when he's healthy, he's going to be a top 12 guy in my book.
It's tough. It's really tough, because he needs to score a hell of a lot of points in that time to currently make up his ADP. He just does. I think DeAndre Hopkins, when healthy, is one of the most incredible wide receivers in the league. I think you could argue that the lineup of Rondale Moore, Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Andy Isabella, Zach Ertz is the most talented receiving core that DeAndre Hopkins has ever been a part of, let alone Kyler Murray. I just get worried. I get worried with these wide receivers who fall off, can't stay healthy, and they get hit with this kind of stuff. It can start to pile up.
Nerd Rage in the chat says, I think Russell Gage is going way too late. I think he's going in a fair range. In terms of best ball, I really like Russell Gage. In terms of a regular fantasy league, I'm pretty much out on Russell Gage, because I think it's going to be hard to figure out when to start a wide receiver 3 on a team. You know what I'm saying?
I love Russell Gage. Love Russell Gage.
Alrighty.
Tom Brady slot receiver. let me tell you what. If you look at if you're working on your own projections, not saying you have to because we have some really excellent projections over on Awesemo.com, currently free, by the way. If you're making your own projections, you would realize that Russell Gage, there's no way that he's not getting a huge target share. Even if Gronk comes back, they need somebody to pick up a ton of the slack, especially with Chris Godwin out for possibly 6 games, maybe on the PUP list.
That makes sense. All right. Pecan said that there's a tornado warning at his work, so he's going to the basement. Well, stay safe. That sounds
Absolutely. Stay safe. That really sucks, man. Sorry.
Hope that your work and you are all right. Nerd Rage says 2 weeks ago, I was able to get Taysom Hill as the last pick in my drafts a lot. Now it seems like he's going early round 14. What is going on? What is going on is people are going to talk themselves into Taysom Hill, that he's going to play some games at quarterback, but he's a tight end on Underdog. So if he does play games at quarterback, then yes, that is good. But if Jameis stays healthy, then that is a terrible pick in the 14th round.
Let's put it this way. The expected usable weeks of a non-quarterback outside of the 10th round, so 11th round or later, is 1 to 2 weeks, guys. We are fishing for maybe someone who can give us 2 or more weeks of usability. That means we see wide fluctuations in ADPs from rounds 18 to really up to round 11. And that can be very difficult, especially if you were drafting someone later rather than earlier, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad pick unless they move up past, say, the 10th round. Kareem Hunt in the 9th round goes. We still got some great. How about Chase Claypool here? Add to the stack.
So
we have Gallup as well.
You don't want Gallup, or do you?
No,
want
we get Gallup. Both. Man, I hope we get both.
Yeah, I was gonna also point out Woods because Woods is on the Titans. I don't love Woods. I'm just saying for the game stack, if you get what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So would you rather have Woods or Claypool? Because I would rather take Woods and then wait and take Pickens.
Sure. I am not crazy about Claypool, but I do think that they have another situation where it's very obvious they have to use Claypool in a significant way this season.
Okay, so looking at the board here, Woods already got taken. We only have 2 running backs. Do you like Penny with me, or am I on an island here?
Actually, we probably should think about running back. I don't care about it that much. I would take Claypool, but if you want to start thinking about someone else, I'm fine. I would rather have Claypool, but
okay, well, I took Penny because I have a crazy ownership of Rashad Penny. I think that Penny is going to be the guy this year, and I also think that if we didn't take Penny, then we are really in the bottom of the barrel. By the time we pick again, right? We're 20.
We already are. We already are. We went for about the guarantee of about 1 extra usable week. We probably got 2 to 3 out of Penny as an expectation. I understand the upside there, but if we waited around, we would still be at 1 to 2.
Gotcha. So Brendan Bond is in the chat. He's the one who took Justin Fields. He did not mean to do that. But it's okay. You still got
it's okay, man.
You still got your stack. I mean, yeah, you probably could have waited, but you never know in these drafts. People are crazy. They might have just taken Justin Fields. I know if someone screws my draft up, I'm going to go look right at them and try to take their quarterback.
And you know what, Brendan? The most important thing that matters is fantasy points. Nobody cares what the ADP of the player is or where you drafted them if they scored more points than the one on their team. So your Justin Fields stack wins. No one cares that you got it extra early in drafts. You still got this.
Nerd Rage says he just follows the money, and he says that he would take Penny there over Claypool. I'm just not a big fan of Claypool, to be completely honest with you. I really think
Penny is money. He's following the money.
Oh, that's funny.
He got you good. He got you real good.
I feel like we're in a great situation right now because we already have our quarterbacks, and now we don't have to worry about this. Now, I wouldn't say that there's no quarterback dead zone, but like I'm not excited about Lawrence, Winston, Ryan, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, the only one, again, Watson would be gone if we knew where he was going to play. Still plenty of opportunities here. We got Cowboys, so I don't mind taking Giants, who are often available late. Kadarius Toney, as I said, Sterling Shepard. We're going to have to pick up some of these value running backs as well because we were light on the position. One thing we've been stressing over at Awesemo Best Ball is that in the positions that you don't have draft capital invested, you want to take the quantity over quality approach. So we do actually want to finish out the wide receiver position fairly soon here and start getting just a bunch of chances at the running back position.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. So in the chat, Sammy, Mr. Buffalo War Pigs, showing love from North Tonawanda, New York. I missed this one, but I'll be with you guys in a few. The Buffalo War Pigs. Go Buffalo War Pigs. Even though I'm a Dolphins fan, I love Sammy. He's so funny.
He's the man. Thanks for hanging out, Sammy.
Yeah, shout out to Sammy. So like you said, I think we should be looking at wide receiver here. And I think that while we need another tight end, that is like the last thing I'm thinking of. Until we get to like a range, there is eventually a range where I feel like we have to pull the trigger once we get to like Evan Ingram and stuff. I think you kind of have to get ahead of the curve there.
Sure. I've seen a couple that interest me. Certainly Kenny Golladay, Pat Fryermuth also in those game stacks that work for us. Alexander Madison, absolutely someone I can take a chance on. Not really crazy about Ronald Jones. And in our first draft, if you can believe it, we got Rob Gronkowski in the 18th round.
Yeah, that's crazy. And he's already moving up. He is now 128.1 ADP.
There goes Fryermuth. Said his name. Yeah. Bye-bye. Rashad White is a player that really interests me. If Leonard Fournette were to fumble, which he's been known to do, and he gets put in some sort of doghouse, even though Bruce Arians is in his own doghouse upstairs, I think Rashad White is the only player on this roster who could actually be given the keys to this offense in the backfield. I mean, he's a rookie. We don't know what we have, but I think Rashad White was a great mid-round pick, certainly better than Keyshawn Vaughn a couple years ago.
Yeah, I agree on that. What are you thinking on Ronald Jones? Are you with me that maybe Ronald Jones, and of course you just talked about White and then he gets taken.
There he goes.
But
Bam.
do you think that Ronald Jones could potentially be the guy at points in the season that is getting a majority of the carries? Because I don't think the team, while they invested a first-round pick in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't think they are fully invested in him. And then Ronald Jones goes.
Well, they certainly can't be invested in him to the point that he can stay healthy for 16 games. And if he's not healthy, they have found no success with anybody else. And so Ronald Jones can at least be that guiding force at number 2 in the running back position. I don't think he's going to take over the backfield unless there's some sort of injury, but there's been an injury to Clyde Edwards-Helaire every year so far. So I don't mind taking it. I think Kenny Golladay is the player with highest upside here, followed by Tim Patrick. And then Jacoby Myers tends to be around later. So
we'll go with Golladay. My pick would have been Madison if he fell to me, though, thinking that Cook gets hurt every year, so you're probably going to get 2 games out of Madison.
That's the kind of analytical thinking we like. Cook gets hurt every year.
He does. I mean, I don't know if there's no math behind that, but it's true. He gets hurt every year. But we're going to go Kenny Golladay. I like Kenny Golladay a lot this year to bounce back. I mean, you don't back up the Brinks truck for this guy and not throw him the ball a million times.
Basically the same opportunity this year. Better offensive coordinator, better GM, better front office, better draft year. Lower ADP. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a pretty easy one.
Yeah. So we're up again here. What are your thoughts on Spiller here, or do you want to go receiver again?
I don't feel like we need Spiller personally. I love the upside of a player like Jahan Dotson. Rondale Moore, I'm also absolutely fine with. And even Tim Patrick, tied to the best quarterback he's had, fine with it.
All right, let's go Tim Patrick. I think if it was me, I would have went Parker, but that's just because I think Parker is the number 1 guy in New England.
What does that actually mean, though? Like I think the number one wide receiver in New England is, again, first of all, I don't think so. Second of all, we've proven that it's not actually a very fruitful position because they don't really score touchdowns. I hope you're right though.
But I mean, Myers did really well last year. He had 126 targets, 83 receptions, 866 yards. I mean, when you're in the 12th round, I think taking a shot on a guy that could be the number 1 in his offense, even if it's New England, does mean something. And I think it's entirely possible that New England goes with a little higher passing rate this season, in my book.
Possible.
Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe, because it seems like they were handcuffing Mac Jones last year, basically putting him in the position where it's like, just don't fuck up and we can win the game.
I have heard that the two people competing to call plays are Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, two of the least exciting, least original play callers that the NFL has to offer. You know that team's going to compete because of their defense, but number one wideout on Joe Judge, Matt Patricia offense, you can have him.
All right.
George Pickens sitting there. Kind of like that one. Dotson with the significantly better draft capital. There's Don't Call Me Adam Troutman, Cole Kmet going at 12-7.
All right. I like Hunter Henry a ton, but he would not be the pick with our next pick because we already have Waller, but I'm really trying to talk everyone up on Hunter Henry because I think he could easily finish as a top 10, top 8 tight end as long as the touchdowns keep going to play.
All right, we got a zag here. This is way too big of a tight end run.
We definitely do. We're still 13 picks away, though, so we can kind of chill. Nerd Rage in the chat said, let's say you know Gronk is... I assume... Oh, Gronk isn't playing this year. What round are you willing to take Cameron Brate? He's going to get way overdrafted compared to where you should actually be taking him. So, like, the in this range is where I'd be comfortable taking him.
Yeah, I don't think Cameron Brate suddenly turns into a target monster, but he will be a snap monster. And playing on the field and running routes for Tom Brady is going to be fruitful from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
It's just not that we saw situations where like Brady and Gronk have just kind of a special understanding of each other that Brady is not suddenly going to step into 1-for-1, period.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the issue, though, is that he's not going to just be like a 12th round flyer. He's going to move up and move up and move up because, oh, Gronk was this. Even dating back to Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was this with Brady. All you got to do is have some decent tight end with Tom Brady. He's going to be good. I don't know if that's the case with Cameron Brate. I think Cameron Brate's an interesting 20th round pick if you don't get Gronk and you have Brady. But I would not be very interested in Brate if Gronk isn't playing.
The time to draft Brate is probably right now. If you believe Gronk isn't coming back, hedge your bet right now with last round Brate picks. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, Nerd Rage. Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, shout out to all you guys in the chat. Thank you guys for talking to us. And if you have any questions, you can just ask us because it's not like we're just sitting here talking about the draft the whole time because there's huge weights in between our picks.
All right, I got some players on the board I really like, but we're 8 away. I don't want to get too excited. Got some stacks, digging it. See if we can hone in on the game stacks and then the divisional stacks as well.
Shout out to Pecan. I love Josh Palmer. Maybe not around these guys, but I think Josh Palmer is really in a solid position. If Williams or Allen were to get hurt, I think Palmer would be a top 24 receiver for multiple weeks.
I was really high on Palmer last year, so there is literally no reason I can't be high on him this year. I just haven't started drafting him. That's just on me.
Gotcha. So we only have our build right now. We are 2, 3, 6, 1. I think this is pretty typical to what I would be looking at in a lot of drafts up to this point. Maybe 2, 4, 5, 1.
Yeah, I love keeping it light at running back, especially if you use early draft capital. We probably use the least amount of draft capital possible to be in this roster construction, but I kind of like that. I like playing close to the edge, especially when we're going so far into stack-heavy approaches. There's one, darn it, that stinks. KM Miller, probably just chilling and watching the stream, watching us suffer. I wanted Pickens real bad right there.
Oh, you hate to see that. I kind of like DJ Chark in the 13th round. I don't know why. I've just always liked DJ Chark.
Yeah, the high draft capital, once again, sort of like Devontae Parker. Moving teams for the first time. Jameis Winston, another good late round pick. But yeah, DJ Chark on a pretty solid skill position core suddenly in Detroit that they're building, especially if Jameson Williams can get healthy for this year.
Agreed. So we are 1 pick away here. Who are you keen in on here so that we don't just talk for 30 seconds and have to panic the pick?
Algier is definitely someone I'd take a chance on. Jacoby Myers, I already told you, one of my favorite picks of the offseason. Those are the two for me, and it's probably not very close after that. I see a huge drop-off.
Okay. And there's reason to believe we could potentially get both. Do you view the fact that we only have 3 running backs that we have to take Algier here? Because after that, I mean, I like James Robinson, but we already
would rather have Jacoby, actually.
Okay, so we're going to go Jacoby then. Bam. Now, let's hope.
Because he's still a 5th-round running back. Like, there's an obvious path to success for Algier, but it's still speculative, right?
Yeah.
Jacoby's getting targets.
Yeah, looking late, I really like, if we're going to take some late-round throws, I really like Raheem Mostert, and I really like Marlon Mack. And while did we draft? No, we didn't take Antonio Gibson. I really think Brian Robinson's going to be the number 2 guy in Washington.
Possibility. I think Hassan Haskins was drafted to be a 1-to-1 backup for Henry, so I love him at the end. Algier's there for us. That's my pick. Pretty firmly there, unless future Packer Will Fuller is too enticing at the 1402.
Yeah, no, not for me. If I was going to go any other way, I would go Hunter Henry. But again, right here where we have it, we're assuming that Waller's going to play every game. And I think if you can get Waller and then maybe you draft Austin Hooper, maybe, the Tennessee stack, maybe Austin Hooper shows up, or CJ Uzomah, or hey, maybe draft Cameron Brate. Maybe Gronk isn't there. I mean, Brate's still going to score touchdowns whether Gronk is there or not. But my assumption I'm still standing with the fact that I think that we're going to see Gronk this season.
Absolutely agree. I think Gronk is playing. I think Gronk will be back right after training camp gets easier or is over.
Yeah. So I'm thinking probably August is when he shows up. Maybe July. But there's no way he shows up in May or June. He doesn't even have to watch film, though. Brady watches it.
That's right. He watches it for him. Tyrion Davis-Price, Gus Edwards, also interesting backs. Gus Edwards is going to get carries. Just no doubt about it.
I agree. Nerd Rage said that A.J. Green let him down a lot last year. I feel like my recency bias is keeping me away from him. I mean, I understand why it's keeping you away from him, right? He's like pick 200 something. But if you do go with the Kyler Murray stack, I think A.J. Green being a very cheap price, I'm just going to draft him.
Yeah, and if I can add something to that, your internet's, oh no, Will Fuller at the 1409. He actually would have been a okay pick there, 1402. The way you can think about it further, and that can work your way outside of your biases and Nerd Rage, is don't think of it about the player. Just thinking it about the stack, the division. Maybe you have a Matt Stafford, Allen Robinson stack, and so AJ Green is just a logical add-on to that play. You don't even care about what that player is. You just have to say, okay, this is the likely wide receiver 3 for a team that's going to be playing my main stack. So I know that from DFS principles, I'm going to be having multiple games with a game stack that could theoretically well outpace my opponents. That's all you got to think about it.
That is a very good way to think about it. And if you have never played DFS before, then that might be a little bit complicated for you. But yeah, I think that's a very good explanation. So we are going to be up in 9 picks.
I think Watkins at 1502. Yeah, that's a fantastic pick. Watkins, if healthy, is going to smash in Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, was Watkins the guy that was one biscuit away from being a tight end, or was that a different player?
That's Kelvin Benjamin.
Kelvin Benjamin, yeah.
I think they were in the same draft.
Yeah.
Watkins went first among those wide receivers. Benjamin, I believe, was 17th in that first round.
Yeah, I don't know why I remember that. That just came into my head. That shit was so funny when I heard that.
Kelvin Benjamin.
All right, so we're coming up in 5 picks. Do you want to take a tight end before things get brutal?
Yeah, this ain't a bad idea. Like Tyler Higbee. Honestly, Logan Thomas is going to, with Ricky Seals-Jones now on the New York Giants, Logan Thomas is expected, especially with the way he's being paid, to play every single snap for the Washington Commanders this year. Yes, they added Jahan Dotson. Yes, Curtis Samuel is expected to be back. By the way, he goes at the 1507. To me, the snap share is what I'm chasing, and I know for sure I'm getting it in Logan Thomas. Plus, I'm getting a little bit of divisional stack with my Dak Prescott stack as well.
Gotcha. Gus Edwards he was one of my favorite picks here as well. So since we went heavy on wide receiver, do you think we should draft 6 running backs this draft, or you want to cap it at 5?
I am indifferent if the last running back is in the 18th round, but I would cap it at 5 until the 18th, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. So with our next pick here, I think we can wait on Thomas. Would you want to go? Never mind.
You want to go Raheem? Darn.
Yeah. Sorry, we'll go Logan Thomas here. Unless
we could also go OBJ. I like OBJ.
All right, so let's go OBJ, and then we'll go Logan Thomas.
I kind of like that.
All right, yeah. Odell, the only bad part is I don't think Odell plays until like week 7 of the season, right?
Pup list seems very reasonable for him this year.
Yeah, but it seems like Sean McVay wants Odell back based on what I've seen. Does that mean he's going to come back? No, but that is somewhat telling that if Odell does return to LA, I think he's going to have a great stretch at the end of the season. And maybe the Saints they're talking about too. But if he goes to the Saints, then this might have been a terrible pick in the 15th round.
I don't think, again, we're just looking for spike weeks. We're just looking for big weeks. And from our 15th round pick, Jameis Winston's wide receiver 2, possibly, that's a great play. So now Logan Thomas is definitely the pick there. See, it was great that we waited too, because D. Singleton, who picked right after us at the 15-12, they needed a tight end, and they picked their favorite tight end. It happened to be a different one than ours, so great that we waited.
Sure. So we definitely need to get one more running back. And we are now in the range where my favorite running back is Marlon Mack by far. While I am a huge fan of Pierce, I think Mack might be the number 1 guy there in Houston. What do you think?
I think it's great if you need guaranteed touches. How often, if you sim out the season 1,000 times, is Marlon Mack winning us the league?
Probably no times.
So I think Brian Robinson is a player that you would say that it's a slightly more than 0 times chance. And players like Keontae Ingram, who if James Conner, who has a history of knee injuries, gets hurt, just has to beat out Benjamin. So I do like to think about that sometimes. Marlon Mack, though, he might get the first carry of week 1 for a team, and you can get him in the 16th round. So that never sounds like a bad pick to me.
Yeah, he might just get consistent carries. He might not ever carry the team, but if he gets in getting 10, 11 points when some of our guys don't do as good, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with that. And Khan said you're not getting Ingram. I honestly prefer Benjamin if you're comparing both of them.
Keontae Ingram has a better draft capital than Benjamin. Benjamin just a 7th round pick, but yeah. I think Hassan Haskins is also a player I would like to look at because, again, if Derrick Henry, who is getting up there in age, is out at the end of the season and we're looking at a game stack, we just have more of that Dallas, Tennessee expected value in those final most important weeks.
All right. David in the chat. Hey, Awesemo family. I'm a nurse in NorCal. You guys literally got me through COVID way back with the Madden streams. More gratitude than you know. Pleasure to be drafting with you today. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks, David.
I was not
That's
with
awesome, man.
Awesemo back then, but that is awesome. I used to watch the streams as well.
Appreciate you, David. Yeah, man, it was real tough, especially when all the sports shut down. And I am so glad not to be back in those times. And just looking ahead to brighter days here and a really fantastic best ball off season. Devin Duvernay is going to run a lot of routes for Baltimore this year. Him or James Prochet, one of them is going to run a huge amount because Rashad Bateman can't be the only wide receiver who does anything on that team.
That's funny. Yeah, I really like Devin Duvernay, and he is very easy to stack with the Lamar Jackson stack, especially because the only guy's going early with Lamar Jackson.
Do we have to draft a running back because James Washington's there? I like wide receivers.
All right. I mean, we can. I mean, we only have 4 running backs, though, which is my issue. And I feel 0 safety with Rashad Penny.
We should be drafting with 0 safety in mind. We're going for $2 million. We have to draft as if Etienne and Josh Jacobs and Rashad Penny were league winners.
Okay. Well,
I'm absolutely trying to coax you into this, but I think James Washington should be added to our stack.
All right. I hate James Washington personally because I've tried to draft him like a million times. But no bias here. He is a part of the Dallas stack. So if bad things were to happen to these Dallas receivers, which we hope doesn't happen, obviously, because we have them, but maybe he becomes the number 3 guy there. I think, though, when we are at pick 8, our next pick, we have to go running back.
We have to go running back here. I agree, and I'll leave it for you. I've left my mark on this draft all over, but honestly, this was super fun, especially the way that things worked out, where we kind of knew what stacks we were honing in on. And honestly, this is one of the most stack heavy drafts I've done. I'm excited to see how it turns out as we get to season's end. Well, if there's one of them.
Marlon Mack is gone, so we're going with... Oh, dude, I want to pick Sony Michel. I think Sony Michel is going to score a bunch of touchdowns, but you clearly don't think that way. So we're going to go Hassan Haskins.
You can pick him if you want.
All right, yeah, I'm picking him. He's my boy. I love Sony Michel. I draft Sony Michel basically every year.
I'm going to clip this so hard if Hassan Haskins is starting in week 16 against the Cowboys, and we would have had the stack. But we'll go with a little bit more optimism. Sony Michel takes over the running back, the touchdown hammer roll in one of the best new offenses in the NFL. That's possible with the Miami Dolphins. Let's see how this draft finishes out here as the last picks come through.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Michel's going to take over as the guy, but I think it's entirely possible he scores like 8 touchdowns or something crazy, and then we're just in a really good spot.
He could be the James Conner of this year.
Yeah, definitely. Sony Michel, the only worry is his health.
Yeah. And that seems what Mike McDaniels did with that running back room, right? They picked a lot of great talent, players that people have been high on for several years. But the concern is, can they be healthy? Can they take over a backfield by themselves? Mostert is a race car. Chase Edmonds is a phenomenal player, especially in the open field. Sony Michel, first-round draft capital, great at the goal line. We'll see. Still got Gaskin on the roster.
Nerd Rage in the chat says, I hate how early Josh Allen is going. If you play on another website, not sponsored by today's video, you have to take Josh Allen in the second round on DraftKings if you want the stack. I hate how early Josh Allen is going, but I was able to stack Diggs, Crowder, McKenzie. Is that overstacking? I had Josh Allen as well. I would say that no, that is not overstacking. I don't think there's such thing as overstacking.
No, especially in best ball, Nerd Rage, because you're seeing... You're shuffling through the possibilities. Some weeks it's going to be 2 of those wide receivers and Allen. Sometimes it's going to be Allen rushing and 1 of those wide receivers. Sometimes it's going to be Crowder racking up 12 receptions and Diggs are getting 1 over the middle. So you're just playing the range of outcomes. Man, that was really fun. We got a lot of upside here in this Dallas stack and this Vegas stack. Why don't you read us this roster?
All right, okay. I found our roster very quickly. I thought it was going to take a while. So we have Dak Prescott and Derek Carr as our top 2 quarterbacks. Our running backs are Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, Rashad Penny, Tyler Algier, and Sony Michel. Our wide receivers are Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Deontay Johnson, Michael Gallup, Kenny Galladay, Tim Patrick, Jacoby.
Oh my gosh, look at our week 9 buys.
You hate to see. Holy fuck.
We bye weeks don't matter. I love it so much.
James Washington, Darren Waller, and Logan Thomas. I didn't even notice that. I was paying pretty close attention at the running back position because we have 3 bye week 11s, but we didn't mess up on the quarterbacks and the tight ends. As long as all these guys stay healthy, though, we'll at least be able to field enough wide receivers.
That's hilarious. Honestly, that's fine, guys. Don't worry too much about getting 1 week out of the way with one position. You don't want to have it, but it's much worse at the onesie positions, taking a complete 0 at the position.
I agree. This was fun, guys. My stacks didn't line up, haha, but it was still fun. Many take quarterbacks just to take them, I think. And yes, I completely agree with that take. People just take the quarterbacks because, you know what? It is what it is. Let me just take a quarterback. Overstacking is not the best ball. I had a 5 stack for the Millie win. You won $1 million? That is beautiful. Good stuff. Thank you, Nerd Rage. Congratulations.
Beautiful. And you know what, guys? I was looking at our expert consensus rankings. Josh Allen is in our top 24. He is a second-round pick because we want you guys to get the stack. We want you guys to have the premium stack. And if we want to compete and get it, we gotta meet ADP. So we don't love it. It's not superb value, but it isn't so bad that we're going to move away from it. We're going to try to get you those players. I'm excited for those to come out later this week. Nick, any last words before we get out of here? Thanks so much for hanging out on this Monday afternoon, guys. 25 in the chat right now.
Yeah.
We're going to have a highlight video for you later in the week. Sorry about that, Nick. Go ahead.
I thought it was funny. Brandon Bond said, "You will have a solid team. OBJ will be back by week 9." It'd be so funny if he's back week 9. He's on bye.
Perfect. That would be exactly how we want it.
All right. So thank all of you guys for watching today's stream. It does mean a lot that you guys sit here for an hour plus with us, having a fun time. And we're going to be doing this every single Monday. The cast and crew is going to be changing every single week, so it's not always just going to be me and Matt. There's also going to be other people. And then as the offseason gets even longer, we'll have other people coming as well. And I'm pretty sure we could probably do like a 3-man booth as well at some point in the offseason. So thank you guys all for watching. You got anything to say here, Savoca, before we hit the outro here?
Yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out. He's Nick at Notorious Fantasy. Follow me on Twitter at Draftaholic.
Alrighty. I love you guys all. Thank you guys for all the comments. Smash the like button. Very true. I'll see you later. See you, Matt. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day. Goodbye.